Assalamu alaikum, friends. This is 𝗩𝗏𝘀 in Chicago, and you are watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, last time we looked at it, how vitamin D is one of the factor, plays a role in minimizing the risk for various types of cancer. Today, we are going to look into how vitamin D plays a vital role in managing the risk for heart disease. So let me share my screen. So what you are seeing here, this study was looked at by researchers in 3 cohorts, cohort 1, 2, and 3. I've included all these studies, which I'm going to be sharing here in the pictorial form. In details, you can read it in the description. So not to worry, I'm going to go a little fast because, video gets a little bit longer. What they have seen here, that changes, they have recorded changes in the lipid level, cholesterol level, which we normally measure once a year when we do our blood work. So we get 4 numbers. We get LDL, low density lipoprotein, we get HDL, we get total cholesterol, and we get triglycerides. So they have seen that any changes in the lipid levels increase with a decrease in vitamin D level. So when people under the study were depressed in their vitamin D level, their lipid level increased. Okay, so we call inversely a relationship, inversely proportional. So when one goes up, the other one goes down, vice versa. So they see here, if you see here that for each 10 nanograms per milliliter decrease in their vitamin D level, the total cholesterol worsened. Basically, it was 6.22 milligrams per deciliter more as compared to when you improved your vitamin D level by 10 nanograms per milliliter or more. You reduced your total cholesterol by 5.8 milligrams per deciliter. So the total swing, the difference was 12 milligram per deciliter. So it means that if one would manage your vitamin D level properly, this swing can be minimized to one's advantage in managing the risk. Remember that vitamin D is one of the parameters in heart disease or cholesterol management, besides many other factors. Similarly, they have seen that LDL increased actually with the decrease in vitamin D level by 3.22. For each 10 nanograms per milliliter decrease in vitamin D level, LDL increased by 3.22. And for each 10 nanograms per milliliter increase in vitamin D level, the LDL decreased by 5.4. So the swing was 8.6. Similarly, triglyceride was more pronounced here, that if you had lower your vitamin D level by 10 or more, then your triglyceride increased by 16.5 milligrams per deciliter as compared to when you increased your vitamin D level by 10 or more nanograms per milliliter. You lowered your triglyceride by 11.6. The swing was 28.1. Now, the researchers didn't find much significant difference for HDL here. That's why it was not reported. But I shared in my previous vlog that how the HDL improved over time, because HDL improvement takes time to work. And you have to do certain other things as well, such as, in my case, I showed that in the previous vlog that I increased my HDL from 27 to almost 60 over the course of 2 years' time. Not only I fixed my vitamin D, but I avoided all forms of refined sugar and all forms of refined carbs and grains and stuff. and I saw over time this HDL increased. And we will look into more when we discuss the testings in the forthcoming vlogs, different types of testing for the cholesterol. Because this panel which we do normally is once a year is kind of like obsolete, but still it's in practice by a lot of doctors. It's good piece of information, but it doesn't give you the complete picture, these four numbers, because it's based on the old equation, which we call in medical literature 𝗕𝗿𝗏𝗏 equation, and it's kind of like obsolete now. So the new method is available for measurement of particle distribution, which we will look into in detail in different vlogs. It's out of the scope of this vlog. Next one is vitamin D level versus risk of atrial fibrillation. So if you look at the y-axis here, your relative risk goes down as you increase your vitamin D level, right? So if you look at this dotted line is a 95% confidence level bandwidth, and your relative risk goes down when you increase your vitamin D level. Now, this is, again, I'm saying that vitamin D is one of the parameter. They looked at it as compared to the risk of AFib. There are other factors which plays out in the AFib as well, but vitamin D is a major player as well. Then the next slide is risk of severe or extreme loss of function due to cardiovascular event or cerebral events with vitamin D deficiency. So if you look at the risk of severe or extreme loss of function in different categories of event, at the bottom there are different events listed here, and purple is a non-deficient vitamin D person, and red is a deficient vitamin D level person. And if you look at that reference being at 1 with a non-deficient D, and then you see in this one 37% increase of risk of severe or loss of function due to this event, and then 44%, and then 27%, and so on and so forth. So it tells us that vitamin D again is one of the potent hormone in one's improving overall health. Again, I'm saying that this is not the only one parameter that is going to give you sort of a silver bullet that you can be a disease-free and completely risk-free. But there are many other factors which plays out a role. But vitamin D is a basic fundamental thing which one should be aware of. The next one is peripheral arterial disease by vitamin D level, which we normally call PAD. So here on the y-axis, you have a risk of PAD, right? And on an x-axis, you have a vitamin D level in nanograms per milliliter. So reference were selected as 20 or more nanograms per milliliter as 1. So if you look at it based on the reference number as a 1.0, if someone had a vitamin D level between 10 to 19, their risk ratio was 3.5 times more than the reference. And if somebody was severely deficient, less than 10 nanograms per milliliter vitamin D level, their risk was 3.9 times, close to 4 times more of having a PAD in comparison with the vitamin D level. So again, these are various heart-related and artery disease in conjunction with vitamin D level. So it's very, very crucial that one keeps our vitamin D level in check. This one is association of vitamin D level and CRP levels with cardiovascular disease. The study population was 3,848. And what they did here, the researchers, that they looked at it, CRP levels. CRP is C-reactive protein. Our liver produces a special type of protein which gets into the blood, And when we do this test, they draw a blood sample and they check that, it's a marker of inflammation inside our body, that, what is the level of inflammation. Ideally, it should be less than 1. The lab range is 1 to 3, but ideally it should be less than 1. So they looked at it because, CRP marker is one of the leading inflammatory marker for heart disease. And that's why they looked at it, vitamin D level, along with the CRP levels when they looked at it, the CVD risk. So if you look at, there are 4 here conditions which they looked at it. One was, which is an ideal condition, that someone had a higher vitamin D level greater than 20, or at least 20, or greater than 20 nanograms per milliliter, and the lower CRP, ideally under 1. In this case, it was 0.2, means this is the optimum one can have. So this is the ideal condition they looked at it. Now, the second one was lower vitamin D, which is not a good to have, not an ideal condition to have, less than 20. And then again, lower CRP number, which is good to have. So it means that, here the D was not good, but CRP was good. Third one was higher vitamin D level with greater than or equal to 20 and higher CRP. So here vitamin D was good, but having a higher CRP is not good. And they looked at it, the risk of CVD. And then fourth one, they looked at it, lower vitamin D, which is not good, less than 20, and higher CRP. So it is not good again. So it's a double whammy here. So they looked at it, all the risk of, as compared to the reference. In the second category here, the risk was 19%. Here, the risk was 38%. And here, the risk was almost 100% more. It's double number. So you can see that, how CRP and vitamin D works hand in hand in managing the risk for cardiovascular events. So let me share the screen here. So we looked at it overall, vitamin D level, how mitigating the risk of cardiovascular events in various conditions, and how vitamin D can play a vital parameter in managing the risk, besides many other things, which we will talk about in the forthcoming vlogs. And what kind of a test I do for myself and my family in a year when I do my physical, I'll be sharing those as well. Actually, I'll be sharing the real data, which is the third level of knowledge that one has to go through. That normally knowledge gained, we say that 3 levels of knowledge. You hear from someone, you verify by doing the extensive research, read upon it, and you dig information and solidify your understanding. And then the third level, which is the final level, which you apply to yourself and see the results. And that becomes your knowledge. Then it becomes your knowledge complete, that you have seen the knowledge through all 3 levels. And I'm not going to share anything here on this channel which I haven't verified myself or on my family. And I'm not going to share anything that what I just read and share with you guys. Whatever I have implemented myself and on my family over the last 8 years, I'll be sharing with you. I'll be sharing actual numbers related to my test. So hopefully I'll see you next time with another vlog. Until then, goodbye.